One activity that I had not previously used that specifically came out of LDC training was a prompt deconstruction activity that they introduced during the training. The activity itself, just for the sake of explaining it, requires that students read a prompt, but they don't just read it. They actually have to break it down into several key chunks, and then further break it down in terms of analyzing what they're really being asked to do. The activity itself, when I first saw it at the LDC training, I truthfully thought it was somewhat simplistic. I thought, well, I'll give it a chance. It's a good way to start my students engaged into a future writing task. So I used it during the module. When I did the task in the classroom, I was surprised at how hard it was for my students to actually get the work done. What I projected to be a 20-minute activity turned into 40 minutes, and in one class, an hour. The activity itself, what it requires students to do is they take the prompt that they're being assigned to write on. They break it down into the main chunks of what they're going to do in terms of what are the writing expectations or what are they required to show in their writing, whether it's in technical or content terms. And then the catch is every verb that's present in the activity, they have to highlight it, and when they annotate it and break down what each chunk means, they can't use that verb. They have to come up with another word to explain the meaning of what the expectation is. And when they were doing that, I was surprised at how many of my students couldn't verbalize or even understand what the prompt was actually asking them to do. And as we went through the activity, I realized that this was one of the major issues that my department had been talking about the last year or two in department meetings, about how a lot of our students were not fully understanding the writing prompts, and their writing wasn't reflecting what we were asking them to do. So the activity took longer than expected, but I was really happy with the outcome of their work in just deconstructing the prompt, because the students themselves finally understood what the prompt was actually asking them to do. It wasn't just about asking, explaining what the theme was for this particular task, but they actually had to discuss how point of view and characterization played a role into it. So it was something that they normally would have just discussed theme and never discussed the follow-up portion of the prompt. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because it was so eye-opening to myself in the classroom that I shared it in a department meeting at the end of the first month of the school year. And I showed the other teachers in my classroom, in my department, the product or the poster the students had done, and I explained to them not only the process, but this is what we've been talking about. The kids they're so used to just reading and answering that first part of the prompt, and they never really answer the rest of the follow-up questions. And that triggered other discussions in the department, and other teachers agreed to try it out, and it's been pretty successful within the English department. I think at this point most of us are using it in some way.